Get on it, everybody. Let's make it happen. Just $1. Attention, all FSU fans. Limited time only. $1 for 1 year. Warchant.com. You get this here show. You get Wake Up Warchant. You get Seminole headlines, and you get all of the articles on a daily basis, plus the shows in the upcoming season. And it's upcoming. It is really upcoming. It is nearly upon us. Here we go. Pre-game show, myself and T. Lizzie. Tom's on the whole. The game days are hell on earth for Tom Lang. Pre-game show, in-game show, post-game show. Holy moly.
Not if we win. And we're going to win more than we lose this year, buddy. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Down to my plums.
I sure think that's a distinct possibility, too. It better be. Better be. I don't know. One of us may lose it on the air if they have one more losing campaign. I'm not even just talking about this year. You are not allowed to have a losing season in the next 10 years. You've put us through hell, FSU. Get it together. Let's go. Buck up. Enough of this nonsense. This is not who we are. We're not good at it. We're not good at it. We've been out here in the wilderness, Tom, and we don't like to camp. This is not going to get it done. This is not who we are. Let's go. Let's get back. Let's live the high life. Nice cars, fancy houses, good-looking chicks, and booze. Let's go. This is nonsense what we've been doing. Slumming it. I don't like it. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. Hey, welcome in. Good Monday, everybody. They scrimmaged on Saturday. We didn't see it. Neither one of us. We're not allowed to. That part of it stinks. That's me being greedy. That's me being very greedy. We get to go to every one of these practices, and then the scrimmage is the one thing we can't go to. They only have 2 of them, really. And then we bitch and complain that we didn't get to see the scrimmages. But that's all right. I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to complain that I didn't get to see the scrimmage because I want to see the scrimmage. I'm like a child, but I want it. I want to see the scrimmage. I'd like to know what translates from Monday through Thursday to Saturday. What happens on that Saturday when you put it all together? What happens?
Yeah, I feel a little bit unclean right now because the last practice we saw was Wednesday. We did not follow the team to Jacksonville for Thursday or Friday. Corey and Aslan were out there covering practice for us at Warchant.com. Mm-hmm. And they didn't practice today. They return tomorrow. So it'll be nearly a week that we have not seen them on a football field before tomorrow morning's practice, which I look forward to seeing.
I look forward to tomorrow's practice as well. I didn't miss them. I did not miss them.
I actually did. You were being sarcastic. I see.
No, I did not miss them on Wednesday and Thursday. I didn't need to see that. If it would have involved you and I having to drive over to Jacksonville to see them, nah, it's good. Here, if they'd been here, that would have been fine. But the driving over to Jacksonville to watch a practice, nay.
I don't miss him that much.
No,
I agree
there.
Say,
let's not get over.
But I don't like it that it's been since last Wednesday. You know,
well, I agree with that. We're at a stage, though, truthfully, where I've seen enough practice. I'm ready to go. Let's play some damn games. Let's get it on. It's time to partake in real football. You know what happened is the wetting of the whistle. That's all it took. That's all it took was a little bit of the wetting of the whistle. You got a little football, even fake football, like, preseason football, although Harbaugh cares deeply. You get a little taste of football and you get excited and you go, oh, that kind of resembles a little football. Hey, by the way, stunning development there. I thought, and he may still, from all reports and all visual observations, that Kyle Trask prior to Saturday night was a butt-sorry quarterback, and then he looked great. He looked very good, period.
I didn't watch one down.
He looked good. Yeah. You'll go back and watch it. He looked good. Now, again, preseason game is what it is. A lot of people out there that won't be out there on Sundays. Played well. Made several really good throws. In fact, a mutual friend of ours, fellow Bucs fan, equally as capable a critic as us, we were texting back, like, what the hell? Look at this. So that's a bit of good news over the weekend. But my point isn't Kyle Trask or the Buccaneers, but rather I watched the Bills. I watched the Bills and Colts. I watched the Bears. I watched the Bucs game. I was watching. There was a triple header on NFL Network.
You watched a triple header of preseason football on NFL Network?
Off and on. It was on. It started in the afternoon and went through the day. And we did stuff. We were going out and about. My kids and I and my mom was in town. And that was great to see her. And we had to do some follow-up school shopping for the kids. We kind of had fun with it. We went out to eat and did all of that. So it wasn't all football, but she's a huge football fan. My listeners know that, certainly, right? Huge football fan. Funny, I tease her about this. We were out to dinner. Then prior to that, we were finishing up some school shopping. And she says, now listen, the Bucs kick off at 7:30 against the Dolphins. We should probably wrap it up.
Her devotion to that franchise is unmatched. I mean, really, by anybody I know, to watch every morsel of Buccaneers football. I'm proud of her for that. I'm in a weird place where typically in a normal non-COVID season, when it's baseball opening day, I love watching the first MLB game or two, but then I revert back to the season of importance, which is, running down a Stanley Cup and hockey.
Yeah.
Right now, I've got no time for preseason football because I'm in a thing called a pennant race.
Yeah, but I'm
very strange for a Mets franchise, but I like it. I like this thing.
Yeah, well, it's even stranger if it were to happen anytime soon for the Pirates. So I haven't been locked in on them in some time, other than every time I do tune in, they lose in the bottom of the ninth. So I got that going.
So you stopped tuning in then, yeah.
No, so I watched them give up a walk-off to the Giants yesterday. I was like, oh, that's nice. We'll go ahead and tune in here. So Brian, Reynolds hits a 3-run bomb for us. I'm like, hey, maybe I'll get to see a win. Oh, can't have nice things in Pittsburgh. 2-run bomb, bottom of the ninth. We lose. They walk it off.
Yeah.
Okay. Done watching.
It's basically all the money I have in the pie chart of spending time, because time is money on sports. It's Florida State football.
Well, that's about to be
huge chunk of the pie.
That is about to be a massive portion of the pie.
It's already, let's just say I'm awake for 16 hours. It takes up 10 to 12 hours a day between coverage and work and going to practice and all the good stuff. And then the Mets get about 4. Somewhere in there is family time and time for the home. But most of the sports time is FSU to a 3 or 4 to 1 ratio, and then the Mets. I don't have time for the Bucs yet. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh, you will. It's your roots. I mean, you're gonna you tune in to the Bucs games. I know you will, and that'll be great. Sundays are your days anyhow. You love Sundays. Those are your days that you get crazy watching the NFL. So that's gonna happen soon. You don't just watch the Bucs on Sundays. You watch all of the NFL. On Sundays.
Do, but it might now be a Mets 1 o'clock first pitch.
Good problem to have. Good problem. Sneaky in here, and I won't dwell on it because nobody wants to hear it right about now. I mean, we are all focused on the upcoming FSU football season, most assuredly. The FSU men's basketball team in the news here. FSU traveled to Canada to participate in a 3-game schedule against the University of Ottawa, Carleton University, and McGill University in Montreal, going 3-0 on the trip is what Florida State did, by the way. And we didn't really talk about that at all. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but every 4 years, the NCAA basketball teams are allowed to travel out of the country to play exhibition games with the added bonus of including freshmen and transfers on the trip. And such opportunities go, I would say, a long way in kind of jumpstarting your season by building team chemistry and all that good stuff. And they got to do that. So I do want to gloss over some of that and what we think about. It'll get worked in this week. It's not, again, nothing big. I didn't mention it last week. We didn't get a really chance. The last game was on August the 10th. So here we are. It's 5 days later, and there's a chance to at least make mention of what happened.
They could be fun if they're tougher. I think they've got a couple of guys already that will make them tougher, including a transfer. But yeah, the non-conference slate will teach us a lot about where their mentals are this year. Got to be better.
A couple guys that got to get a lot tougher, and I'm hard on those guys, and I will be. Tough Love Cameron will be making an appearance early in the season here because I don't have time to wait. I saw all I needed to see from one of those guys last year, and unless he shows me something early, then I'm just going to assume he's just as soft as he was a year ago. And he spent his whole basketball life up to that point proving to me he was soft, and then he was soft. So I don't know how that's going to change unless the coach and or the assistant coaches and or his teammates say, hey, man, and then I can't say the rest of what I'd say, but you know what I mean?
Take a walk on the hard ass side.
We got to do something. We got to do something other than that soft ass thing you're doing. Yeah. We got to do something a little different here. Okay. I do want to, and by the way, I appreciate that. Thank you. TPE has weighed in with my Zalatoris victory. Goodness gracious. A lot going on during the stretch run of Zalatoris' win. I'll explain later, much later in the show, but a lot was happening all at the same time. And I did see it out of the corner of my eye, the last playoff hole. I'd seen the prior two without a problem, but the last one where it got dicey and weird and everything else. But I also saw the made putt on 18 to get to where we were in that situation. And I was happy for him to make that putt. Kind of needs to. Had he lost this one, I was worried. There's always the you're great until you go south one too many times and you don't recover. It's the Ricky Fowler syndrome.
Or Tommy Fleetwood.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're there, you're always there, you're consistently there, you're there, and everybody goes, well, that's a given. It's going to happen. Here it comes any day now. It's going to be a thing. And once he does, it's going to be a bunch of things and all that. And then it doesn't. And then a year goes by and you're like, oh, man, he's broken.
Yeah. The Andy Reid Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Always there. Oh, it's going to be their time eventually. They'll be back next year. They always are. They're going to be the 1 or the 2 seed. Then they made the Super Bowl. All right, this is their time.
Yeah.
And then old Donovan takes into the huddle. Yes, with a T.O. who had a broken leg and played an amazing Super Bowl. They looked in his eyes and they saw fear, Mitch. They saw fear. They had no chance.
Well, that's what T.O. says. I don't know. Bottom line is, old fatty got himself a couple now, so he's all right. So he's doing okay.
Oh, yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, it worked out.
It worked out in Kansas City.
Get Down or Lay Down asks, how far is Tough Love Cameron away from No Love Cameron? Well, we're on the precipice. It's dangerously close. That is the problem. Tough Love has to make an appearance when he has seen a nagging consistency with a deleterious influence. It could very well be on the team or the game or the person. But whatever it is, I have to step in when I see it. Now, you can't just prattle on for days like that. You got to, or weeks anyhow. You got to show me a little something. Now, you can go in and out of the Tough Love doghouse. You can rise up, respond to Tough Love Cameron, do something that gets me to back off and acknowledge that you rose up, only to revert to form 3 weeks later and me have to come out of retirement with some more tough love.
Yeah. MJ Walker spent a lot of time in transit.
My guy could never stay out of there because once a game he had to fall and act like he was shot in the thigh.
But he would get out of there routinely though.
Yeah.
So if there was a walkway between Tough Love Cameron and Straight Love Cameron, All Love Cameron, and that walkway was just one long sidewalk. MJ's career was just basically on the sidewalk. It wasn't necessarily in either camp. It was just in the sidewalk between the two. It
was a weird deal because at the same time, he's the only one who's ever been that consistently in the Tough Love doghouse, but also felt like he would be depended on, like we needed him. A lot of the guys, it's not that way. It's just like you fulfill a very small role. I need you to get to where you just understand that and move forward.
Do you remember the first guy that Tough Love Cameron worked for?
Sandpits?
Mm-mm.
Well, I was
Billy Strode.
Oh my God,
Billy Strode. 7 years ago. That's right.
I had forgotten Billy Strode ever lived on this earth. That is
folks.
Amazing.
That would be a relief pitcher for the Florida State University baseball team if you're not up on baseball.
Yeah, I mean,
Tough Love rose up for Billy Strode. I met him at the now defunct Monks.
I miss Monk.
He said, "You work with the Cameron show?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm Billy Strode." I went, "Oh, oh." Well, I said it was funny. I started laughing. I said, "This should be interesting." He goes, "No, I love it. Tell him I love it. It's fine." I was like, "Oh, okay.
See,
well, that was quick."
He was a man.
Yeah,
he can handle things. That's funny. But it had to have been awkward for a second where you were like, oh, well, I'm not the guy. Bill.
Right.
I mean, he's out there saying his thing. I mean, that's what that is. Let's talk football momentarily. We'll do it next. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
For many in the workforce, their goal is to climb the company ladder. Often the climb requires a move to another city, and that's especially true in our industry. I'm Jay of Paul's Termite and Pest Control. If you rise the ranks of our competitors, there's a good chance moving up means moving away. Why? Because they're not local companies. They're from places like Orlando, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, and even Europe. That's certainly not the case with our employees. We're a company that was founded in the Big Bend and remains locally owned. When Paul's Termite and Pest Control employees advance, they remain in the Tallahassee area. Don't trust the safety of your family and pets from disease-carrying pests or the structure of your biggest investment from termites to people who may be here today and gone tomorrow. Trust Paul's Termite and Pest Control, a company that has serviced thousands of our neighbors right here for over 50 years. Being local really does matter in our industry because local problems require local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control are the Big Bend's local experts for the elimination of termites or any other pest, and a greener lawn too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Hearth and Patio wants you to know now is the time to start thinking about your fireplaces. Yes, we know that temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 90s for the next couple of months, but now is the time to start thinking about upgrading those fireplaces. You're not going to be using them. Get those fireplaces upgraded now. They can repair all makes and models of fireplaces. 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Thank you for calling the Medicare Help Desk. How can we help you?
Can you help me choose the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Always fills the soul, buddy. You threw that record on, you're like, all right, that's a damn fine album. Even to this. Some things don't stand the test of time, Tom. Some things don't make it. You know, you go back and listen to an album you loved in 1997, and you're like, oh, this is terribly dated. The production value is terrible. Everything about this is not good. Other albums, you go, man, way ahead of its time. Still whooping ass. Yeah. That one's one of them.
Fred Durst was on it, man.
So, yes. Jeff Buckley's Grace is one of those, and I was reminded of it just now as you played the intro. What do you make of limited time in the scrimmage for Jordan Travis? Why don't we start there? They didn't need to see a lot. They said he played well. He got limited reps, limited series, if you will, and they wanted to see more of the other quarterbacks because they feel good about what they have with Jordan. And it was phrased that way by the head coach, Mike Norvell. I'm not trying to imply anything. Don't take this and run with it and, think that I'm insinuating anything. I'm just saying I thought it was interesting that they've seen enough in a game situation and throughout the practices leading up to the scrimmage Saturday that they saw a couple good series and went, okay, we're good with him. Let's see what we get with Rodemaker. Let's see what we get with Duffy. and let's give them a little bit more time than we ordinarily would. And we want to give them more time with the ones. We want to give them a chance to succeed. We want to see how they play with the starters, because normally they're stuck with that second group and third group. Obviously, that affects your effectiveness. And so they wanted to go a different route there. That was the first thing that stood out to me about Mike Norvell's comments after the scrimmage, as the press conference that night, Saturday night. I thought, okay, that's interesting. Just a thought starter here, a conversation starter.
There's been nothing outlandish in a bad way about Jordan's play this preseason. I think what they've been doing in the spring and in preseason camp is they're trying to learn what all they can do in addition to what they already know Jordan Travis brings to the table. Because he's wearing a green non-contact jersey, you're not going to call a bunch of design runs for Jordan. Of course
not, yes.
You already know he can do that. So what else can he do? And I think he's opened up a few extra pages of the playbook. It's not like he's lighting the world on fire every day the way he did on Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, But he hasn't been up and down to the point where you'd be concerned, that fundamentally concerned about, oh man, we need to get him more work. He's not ready. He's not ready for the opener against Duquesne. He's not ready for LSU. He is. I think he is ready. I think another part of it may be that if you look at the track record, you might need Tate Rodemaker for more than a couple series this season.
That is 100% accurate. I think that's where it starts. I think that's where the conversation starts. That there's a very good chance, based on history, you are going to need Tate Rodemaker to play meaningful snaps this year at some point. I'm not saying start a game, perhaps. I'm saying he's going to come in a game where you need to trust that you can call the game in a way that is built around a drive and a score. That you're calling plays not out of fear, not out of protecting something, but out of going for something, believing that you can compete. Because last year, if you got into a situation where the backup had to come into the game, and I'll grant you, I thought, they too often decided to go back to Mackenzie Milton, couldn't play a lick. No arm, foot, not working, had no reason to be out there. They continued to try that. I think they felt they owed something to him. I understand that this is not last year. You better be able to go into a game knowing that if Jordan Travis is going to miss the second quarter because he has to go into the tent and deal with a nagging calf strain of some sort, nothing cataclysmic, but something that they got to work through or put a brace on or whatever it is, that you're not losing ground in said football game, that you have a shot to call your offense or call plays that suit him and that you believe in him. And so I would get him a lot of reps. I have no problem with that. I just thought it was interesting because at the same time, I can argue Jordan Travis hasn't shown me enough to say that I'm completely fine with every aspect of his game and he doesn't need to take meaningful reps in a scrimmage. Now, I know he did take meaningful reps in the scrimmage and he played well early and they got him out of there. And then, the other part of that could be that, whatever it was last week, he had that day where he was under the weather. Norvell mentioned that the team had a lot of guys that were under the weather. So maybe he's not all the way back at full strength. Post that under the weather day, he came back and had his best day at camp. So maybe they thought, okay, good. He's fine. He's good to go. Let's get Tate and AJ a lot further along in game situations.
Yeah, I know what Jordan is. And I see Preston in the chat saying we're being too Pollyannish, or maybe the media is. Look, man, that's a you problem. We're talking about the things that are better, but we're also saying that this is still an 8-win team. 9 of everything bounces right. You're not automatically great at everything if you're only winning 8 out of 12 games. So there are still holes in what Florida State does. But the thing I'd say is, yeah, Jordan, I know what he is. Not that he's too good to practice. I don't think anybody's saying that. You know what he is. And one thing we said in preseason camp, or before camp actually started, was, look, if you're going to have to rely on Tate, we better see reps with him, elevated reps with the ones, because you got to know everything that he brings to the table and everything that might go wrong. He's got to develop the chemistry with a Micah Pittman, with a Johnny Wilson. And when Wright comes back, you've got to have them potentially on the same page because you're going to need them in a pinch. If you don't, that's unexpected. Wouldn't that be fair to say now? It would be unexpected if you don't need Tate Rodemaker at any point this season. Jordan is what he is. Good, bad, and different otherwise. He's shown growth, I think, this camp. I don't know if it's on the level that everybody wants to see or will hope that they see from Jordan Travis, but I think we've seen growth from him. But you know what he's going to be. Let's find out what these other guys are about because we might need them.
Well, and I would argue that if you can block it up, and they may feel like they can, if you can block it up, I've said before, with time, I think Tate Rodemaker's a better passer. Unequivocally, I think he is. It opens up more of your passing game. I'm not saying there's a quarterback competition. I'm not saying that they're going to work this to a point where they decide to go a different direction. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that if you believe, or in history tells you that he may have to play, if you believe Tate is pretty close to a go and is a certifiably good backup to Jordan Travis, then you better have packages in place that he can rep with the ones that they're comfortable doing in a game.
Right.
So,
and this is the closest thing you can give him to outside of Duquesne, hopefully, if everything's on schedule in the second quarter or the third quarter. Beyond that, you need to get him these reps in the scrimmage.
Yeah, you do. I just thought it's listen, everything about the building towards a successful season is going to be overanalyzed and broken down into minute pieces of information to debate. That's what's going to happen because we're starving. The fans are starving. The media who covers this team is tired of watching it lose because that's boring. That script's been written. We've seen this movie. Let's see something else. Is there something that we can report on that is telling you that they're closer and that we're going to see something different this year? I think there is. You do too. We've all speculated to what degree, to varying degrees. We have an opinion. I don't think they can get to 9 wins. I think it's unlikely, highly unlikely that they get to 9 wins. They could. It's not completely off the table, but it seems highly unlikely to me. I do think 8 is a very, very good goal. I think it's a good goal. I think if you're operating at peak efficiency with this squad and you stay relatively healthy, you can get to 8 wins. I agree with that.
Yeah, my other question would be about Saturday and the usage. Maybe because they're still shuffling offensive linemen. And they're like, let's dial it back here with 13, even though he's non-contact. A lot of stuff's been going on. We're making sure we're shuffling guys in. Like, for example, after the first scrimmage, it was Julian got time at left tackle. Norvell did.
Yeah, they immersed him quickly. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, you want to fast track some guys.
Especially if they have the tools.
It's part of it, too. They're rotating at a lot of positions. They've already talked about it at safety because Akeem Dent and Jamie Robinson weren't available in the beginning of camp. Mike went on record saying that. So you're shuffling bodies there. You're shuffling bodies on the offensive line. They're doing it at other positions. You've got to cross-train and be prepared. Alex Atkins said it on Saturday night. I want to have 5 players to be able to play every single position on the O-line at any given point. That might be a stretch. That's a lofty goal. But he said, look, there are situations where a guy's played left all camp. I'm going to tell him to go play right. You got to be ready. And that's what I think what this scrimmage was about. Once Jordan got done and they saw what they needed to see with the ones truly as close as they can be to running good on good 11 on 11, it's all right. Now, blank has hit the fan. Let's assume, guys, Mike Norvell's got everybody in the huddle. Let's assume that my luck doesn't change this season.
I'm the same
right
unlucky bastard you've known since I've arrived.
If things go wrong like they have for me at all times, that means one of you is going down, maybe more than one of you. So let's put you in awkward position to see how you handle it. That's what I think what this is about. Again, if you've got Duquesne as your opener, you can do something like this with scrimmage too. If your opener was LSU or Notre Dame like last year, I don't know that you can.
Well, the other reason they do this is that from this point forward, you are about to enter into game preparations for both games. Let's be honest. Okay. You're about to install and do game preparations for both games. You don't really have to do it for Duquesne. Now, you got to treat the game seriously and call it seriously. You can't run experiments out there with guys who can't run and have them in the slot. So, that kind of stuff, obviously. But you're going to start really preparing for that LSU game now. And basically, if you don't get them those meaningful reps with the ones in a game scenario this past Saturday, they ain't going to get it. Because from here on out, the ones are going to take the majority of the snaps to be uber prepared for game 1, game 2, for the season. That's how we're going to go. You're going to rep it till you can't forget it and go from there.
Which is something that we can't divulge until they release a depth chart, and that'll be a week from today. Hopefully they'll do that. Not every coaching staff does. But when we go to practice tomorrow, I will be interested to see, assuming everybody in a segment group is healthy, if there's a shuffling. If there's a different number out there that's running early on in practice with the ones that you say, oh, okay.
Well, there's a distinct possibility that is the case at a couple positions. But also, I would warn against, and I'm not saying this to you per se, but to the people looking at that intently as we will be, that I think there's going to be a little time with that offensive line before we get anything concrete.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So I think they're going to need to wait to the last minute with that offensive line. They've had guys who have worked their way back, some guys who had to miss a little bit of time and are coming back, some other guys that have been out there the whole time and maybe either played really well and deserve to be elevated, or others that have played a little bit poorly and had to be reshuffled. And so, I think that they're still figuring that out, and that competition is the only place on the field that I think that you're still going to be looking at some pretty intense moments in practice this next week.
Yeah, all things being equal, now the center battle, assuming everybody, let's just say outside of Caden Lyles, assuming everybody's healthy on the offensive line, and that's what we hope moving forward. By default, you now have a starting center in Maury Smith if everybody's healthy, but you got to cross-train. And the guy that's really interesting is Darius Washington. That's where I think when you're talking about coming down to the wire, he could play a guard. He could play all 5 positions. We've documented that. The coaching staff has talked about that. But that is the one player I think that can fundamentally shuffle what's going on in the 2 deep of this offensive line. If he finds a home and he is materially better at right guard, let's say, than somebody like Dimitri Emmanuel who's been working there, and he starts, then maybe that flex is where Dimitri could place as your 6th guy. Or if he's materially better than Bless at right tackle. Remember, they were going back and forth in spring, not so much so far this fall. But that kind of stuff, if that's what happens, then Darius could be somebody to unseat somebody we already have penciled in. Yeah. But he is the guy as he's getting up to speed, and that was, again, something that Mike Norvell said, that Darius was coming along a little bit slower. Well, he's made the practice reports now. So this is a big week for Darius Washington in a way it won't be for a lot of other players.
Last week, we were able to shine a light on the coaches poll. In a moment, we'll shine a light on the AP poll. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department says a man was injured in a shooting in the 1500 block of High Road. Officers responded to the call just after 4:30 Sunday morning at the Seminoles Grand Apartments. TPD says the victim is suffering from non-life-threatening injuries. At this time, no arrests have been made. This is an active and ongoing investigation. Police arrested a man in connection with a stabbing inside an apartment Friday, according to an agency incident report. TPD arrested 27-year-old Montana Wade the same day they say he entered a home at Camden Place Apartments on West Tharp Street and stabbed a person with a knife. The victim was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, but is now in stable condition and is expected to recover. Police claim Wade was angry with the victim and arrived at his apartment around 8:30 a.m. Friday. Wade allegedly stabbed the victim before fleeing the area. Wade was charged with attempted homicide and resisting officers without violence. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance for scattered thunderstorms this afternoon, otherwise partly cloudy. Highs level off around 93, southwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Slight chance for scattered thunderstorms again tonight, lows around 74, partly cloudy skies. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 92, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
If you're a business owner of any kind, you need advanced fire protection services. We are AFPS, and we provide high-quality life safety services throughout Northwest Florida, and we've been doing it since 1989. With offices now in Tallahassee, fire sprinklers, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, hood suppression systems, and emergency exit lights. For all of your life safety equipment, we've got you covered 24/7. We are Advanced Fire Protection Services. For a free life safety system evaluation, visit WeSaveLives.com. That's WeSaveLives.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
There's a TikTok that's going viral because of a butter softening method. They are putting the Vermont Creamery butter in the waistband of her pants. Give it 5 minutes. You can go and measure out your ingredients, and then your butter is ready to go. You cannot do this in Florida.
No.
Because your pants will be full of butter in 2 minutes. Somebody try it. Post it on TikTok.
Unless it says juicy across the back.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. F. Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Things first, and that is it's a buck. Get your ass in there and let's go. Warchant.com for a year for $1. Forget about it. Got to do it. Sign up. You get this show every day. You get Wake Up Warchant. Similar headlines. You get the articles documenting every day of practice, the videos to go with, and a ton of specialty shows throughout the year, including game day specials that will last you for the pregame, in-game, and postgame. Get on it. Warchant.com, $1 for 1 year. We do not know how long that special will last. Yes, I'll get to the LSU news later in the program. I see it. I'm aware of it. I'll talk about it.
He was running third anyway, from what I read.
I don't care about that. I just want to get an update overall. You're right. Let's go back to this. So the AP poll is out. It's not as fun as the coaches poll.
The coaches poll.
But no shocker here. Alabama will open the 2022 college football season ranked number 1 in the preseason AP Top 25 poll. That released today. The Crimson Tide are followed by, no shock, Ohio State. Followed by, no shock, Georgia. Followed by, also not shocking, Clemson. Followed by, number 5, Notre Dame. Okay. A lot of turnover at Notre Dame, but we'll see. Feels awfully favorable. I'm not so sure I agree with that poll. It's the 15th consecutive season Alabama has appeared at number 1 for at least 1 week, and it's the 9th time Alabama has started a season ranked atop the AP poll since preseason rankings began in 1950. So you have that. Only Oklahoma has more appearances atop the initial poll. Hey now. The Crimson Tide received 54 of 63 first-place votes. Ohio State garnered 6. Defending national champion Georgia got 3. When you lose 75 people to the draft in the first 2 rounds, it is awfully hard to sustain a number 1 ranking.
But these days it'll keep you around number 3 or number 4 because
you
are the have of haves.
The rest of the top 10 is made up of number 6 Texas A&M. A lot of expectations heaped upon one Jimbo Fisher and the Texas A&M Aggies.
Universities collectives.
That was not the full.
Kind of works.
I don't cheat and I don't lie.
But that kind of works. Universities collectives. Just go ahead and say that over and over again. You accidentally hit the right bumper there.
That's correct. Even my subconscious is on its game today, sir.
How about my boys? Look at them. Cam Rising and crew coming in at number 7. Let's go, Utah.
Your national champion.
It's my squad right there, baby.
National champion Utes.
Utah fans, go ahead. Send it on over to your boy. I need the nicest, freshest apparel from the Utes and a free flight out to Utah to stay with a seat at the 50. I'm here for you. Number 8, Michigan, overranked, no chance. Fugazi. Get the hell up out of here, Michigan. Back to being ass. Number 9, Oklahoma. Number 10, Baylor.
Well, it's one of those two.
It's the first time Utah has opened the preseason as a top 10 team, bolstered by Jeff Cameron's daily praise. Its previous high preseason ranking was 14th in 2019, also bolstered by Jeff Cameron's helping praise. At number 13, we have an ACC squad. That squad named NC State. Unfortunately, they're on the schedule. By the way, their highest preseason ranking ever. Sorry-ass Wolfpack, just always shaky.
Oh, this is it. I was waiting like ... was,
Yeah.
9th in 1972.
In 1975, they were also preseason ranked 13th.
Oh, there you go.
So they've tied it.
I had them 9th that year.
Their highest, they've never finished higher in a poll at the end of the year than 11. So no top 10s for them.
1979?
74.
Oh, okay.
74. 0 ranked teams will be in action when 2022 season kicks off with 11 week 0 games on on August the 27th. We know that. However, week 1 will feature 3 matchups of ranked teams, including Notre Dame at Ohio State. Here we go. Grand opening, grand closing for somebody. Good goodness gracious. 5 versus 2 in that matchup. Number 3, Georgia will take on number 11, Oregon. This is beginning to feel real, tangible. That game's coming up. I can make a plan. I'll meet you at the bar. We'll be doing this. That's fun. That's good. All right.
2:30 local time in New Orleans,
Let's
buddy.
get it on. Georgia and Oregon are in Atlanta. That's a shame. Be better if they were between the hedges or out at Autzen. Number 23, Cincinnati, in a game that I care to watch because I've got Woo Pig Suey in that matchup. It is
Woo Pig Suey.
It's number 23, Cincinnati, at number 18, Arkansas on September the 3rd. Meanwhile, number 7, Utah has an immediate test of its heightened expectations, Tom, as they'll take it to Gainesville to take on the University of Florida. Big game for the Utes as they drub Billy Napier's debut in Gainesville for the Florida Gators.
A little 28-17 action. What do you think?
Feels good. Feels good.
Yeah.
Much more physical, manly team, Utah. Number 4, Clemson will play Georgia Tech. Oh, goodness gracious. That is not how we do things, Georgia Tech. What are we doing? That's a toughie. I think I would have said, what are we doing here, guys? What's with the schedule? Clemson out the gates. They hate our coach. This guy's going to run it up by 80 if he can. He will. That's on Labor Day night. Did we take Clemson and give the 30? What was it? I told you 30, like 39. It's insane.
Yeah, I think we did.
I got to double check it. Here is, for those that are keenly interested, the entirety of the top 25 poll. We'll make this fun. Tom, you and I, lower or higher. We're going to play a little game of lower or higher.
All right.
They're going to finish worse off, meaning if you're number 1 Alabama and you don't think they're going to finish number 1, then you have to say
lower.
That's correct.
Well, worse.
You
Worse
can't-
or better? Let's do worse or better.
Okay, worse or better is better. You're right.
Lower or higher with polls is just no thanks.
Hey, worse or better. Little game of worse or better. Brand new onto the program.
All right.
All right, here we go. Number 25, BYU.
Better.
Better.
Mm-hmm.
Good call.
Mm-hmm.
Good call. Number 24, Houston.
Better.
Go with a little worse.
It feels like a 19-21 landing
I think
spot.
they're outside the top 25.
Because they won't have anybody in Power 5 they can put there. That's what that feels like, a default play.
Number 23, Cincinnati.
Worse.
It's a tough call.
Mm.
Good coach.
Could be a push.
Could be a push. That feels like the right ranking to me.
The same.
Push. I'm going to go with push. Number 22, Wake Forest. Oh, our first bout of intrigue, everybody.
Wow.
Where are you ranking Wake Forest, the Demon Deeks?
You know,
what you got?
I think this browser over here has pulled up Wake Forest schedule more than any
How
other
many
browser in
times?
the country.
Like we got to double check. Are you sure they're not counterfeit? What are we looking at here?
All
Give me
right.
Wake Forest.
All right. VMI, at Vandy,
Win.
Liberty,
Win.
Clemson,
Loss.
at FSU,
Loss.
Army,
Win.
break, Boston College,
Win.
at Louisville,
Loss.
at NC State,
Loss.
North Carolina.
Oh, by definition, I've already done it. They're worse. Worse
Well,
than
you gave them
22.
4 losses. 4 could put you right around there.
I'm going worse. They're out of there. Goodbye.
All right.
Worse.
North Carolina, Syracuse, Duke. So they could finish on a little 3-game upswing.
Ooh, worse.
All right. Including the bowl loss that they suffer. Worse.
Worse. Okay, we're both on
That's
worse.
close, though.
Number 21. Be quick on that keyboard. Number 21, Ole Miss.
Oh, Miss.
Whoa, what do we got here? What kind of schedule are we looking at?
All right.
What kind of cheating does
My
Lane
gut
need to do
tells
this
me
year?
worse.
My gut tells me worse, too.
Troy,
Win.
Central Arkansas,
Win.
at Georgia Tech. Remember
Win.
that game?
Oh, jeez.
Tulsa,
Win.
Kentucky, in Oxford.
Toss up. Keep going.
All right. At Vandy,
Win.
Auburn at home,
Win.
at LSU,
God, toss up.
at Texas A&M,
Loss.
break, Alabama,
Loss.
at Arkansas,
Loss.
Mississippi State.
That game between Arkansas and Ole Miss last year, was that
man.
the craziest game of all time? It was like
Yeah.
58-55.
Yes.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
Hey, it was fun. I'm going to go worse. Worse than 21.
That's close.
Going worse. They had a lot of easy wins, and then they're going to have a bunch of losses in a short period of time, and the pollster's going to go, to hell with you.
Yeah, because of the November losses, that's where Wake could get helped by going North Carolina, Syracuse.
Creepy. Yes, I agree with you.
All right, worse.
All right, there we go. Okay, now we don't have time to do this with every team. Here we go. Kentucky at number 20. I'm going to say better. 19, Woo Pig Suey.
Pig Suey, worse.
Wisconsin 18. Sounds about right. Push.
Yeah.
Pitt 17.
Worse. He got rid of Whipple. So you lost your quarterback and your offensive coordinator. Narduzzi's going to do more of what he wants to do, which means they're going to suck more.
Well, they'll play low-scoring games again. He's got a good defensive line, man. I don't know. I'm torn here.
Worse.
Okay.
I feel good about it.
I'll go worse. Canes 16. Better.
If I said Pitt's worse, right, by definition, that means.
Yeah. You got them winning the Coastal, don't you?
I don't know what the hell's happening in the Coastal.
You're going to take Miami to win the Coastal, so you got better.
They're going to lose to us, though.
In Miami?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Push.
Michigan State 15.
Worse.
Southern Cal 14.
Worse
is correct. That's the right answer.
Yeah.
NC State 13.
Oh man,
what a good number! That's a push.
I like better. I like better in that situation.
10. Oklahoma State 12. Worse. Oregon 11.
Worse. Because they could lose to Utah again, get smoked in the Pac-12 championship game if they make it that far. They could lose to USC as well this year.
They got talent on that team, man. That's tough.
If you lose 3 games in the Pac-12, you're automatically going to be voted worse than a 3-loss SEC team.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go worse. Baylor worse at 10. Oklahoma worse at 9. Oh,
Baylor.
You are a drunk. Oklahoma.
Somebody's got to win the games in the Big 12.
It's not going to be Baylor.
It won't be Oklahoma.
Oklahoma will be all right. Hey, man, you go easy on all that slander. Oklahoma. I'm going to go worse. Michigan 8, way worse. Utah 7, exactly right.
Better.
Texas A&M.
Worse.
6.
They're way too high. Worse. It's next year for them. They lost.
Are we going to do this every year?
No. I'm talking about that class.
We got to do this every year.
That class is not vesting this year. It vests next year.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. I'll say worse as well. Notre Dame 5, worse.
Way worse.
Clemson 4, worse. Georgia 3, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the top 3
Utah's in the playoff this year.
Okay, so Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, we're like, yep, we're all good.
Yep.
Okay, so those first 3. Kind of a fun little exercise. I mean, it's the last of the desperate exercises that we have to employ on this show.
It's starting to get educated, though. It's not fully vetted and educated on every team. But
that's what this weekend's for. We're getting even deeper into the weeds with all these teams here. This is your steel weekend. This is where you grab and you get in there. What are they on full moons and rainy weather on the road with the temperatures below 80?
Watch for that 6-day window.
Yeah, that's what you start doing. You start going through all those. I just can't believe that it's here. It's finally here. That you and I were having a conversation over the weekend about where, when we're leaving town to go to New Orleans, how we're going to gamble in Biloxi and play golf, and then we're going to go to New Orleans. We got a lot of things we got to do.
Yeah, Tom, I see you asked the question. Texas wasn't ranked. They were not in the AP poll. No. Texas was not. They got a first-place vote in the coaches poll. They were ranked 17th or 18th, somewhere in there. Not ranked at all. Ranked behind Tennessee and the others receiving votes in the AP
Texas
poll.
plays Alabama second week of the season. Good luck with that, guys. They just had a terrible weekend in camp where they lost players. Texas won 4 games last year. Yeah, they shouldn't be ranked. Marcus writes, gents, I have so much crap going on. Good. Custody stuff. Great. Work projects. Great. Moving my lovely lady to Tallahassee from Maryland and more. The light at the end is football starting. Thank you for the distraction. You help a ton. It's our pleasure, Marcus. And I'm sorry that you're going through custody stuff and work projects, but your candor is appreciated. Goodness. That's a toughie. Jeff, or should I say Big Blue Kentucky Jeff, have you gotten into the Stoops Cal drama with your new Kentucky friends? So I have not started the work I'll be doing with the Kentucky site and the video aspect. I'm, by the way, a lot of you did ask about this. Thank you for doing so. Of the other teams that I'll be working with this year, it's not going to take away from my focus, attention, and day job covering Florida State, of course, and my passion. But it will require me to know quite a bit about Kentucky, Tennessee. Well, how about them apples? Nebraska, as well as Florida
Folks,
State.
take those names down again of those programs. Kentucky, Tennessee, and Nebraska.
Ah.
If you see those teams on Redemption Thursday, once again, Kentucky, Tennessee, Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm covering all three of those teams this year. I will be doing videos with their host sites, their lead writers, their editors, their people that are the equivalent of Ira Schoffel, Gene Williams, Corey Clark, Tom Lang, Aslan, you name it.
We get a lot of Johnny-come-latelys on a Thursday, so this is the final warning for all of you that stick with us throughout the year. This is the final educational warning. So we're not going to tell people that Jeff covers these teams on Redemption Thursday. So remember those three, write them down.
I wanted to work with Wyoming, but they didn't see the monetary value in me working with Wyoming.
On3wyoming.com.
Yeah, I'm going to convince them otherwise and soon. And I also desperately wanted to cover Utah. They wouldn't allow for it. They already have their folks in place. So what are you going to do?
That sucks.
One of these times I'm going to get to cover Utah. That'll be next year after I prove a smashing success. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
Whether it's a new addition or renovation, starts with a plan. At T-Spark, we are excited when our clients contact us to assist with that plan. Through our team of architects, draftsmen, engineers, we can help you with your project's planning and design, potentially saving costs in the long run. Whether you have a residential or commercial project, we look forward to working with you. Call us today or visit us at tsparkconstruction.com. License number CGC 1525336.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At MML Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service, right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco.
I can dig it. Who's playing?
Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys.
Wow, far out.
You bet, man. When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas.
Does Margarita know?
Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Senator Lindsey Graham has been ordered by a federal judge to testify before a grand jury in Atlanta. Bob Agnew with that report.
The grand jury is investigating whether former President Trump and his supporters broke any laws in challenging the Georgia election results in 2020. Prosecutors want to question Senator Graham about calls they say he made to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger in the weeks following the election. Graham says, quote, I was chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee and had to vote on certifying an election. He argues it's unconstitutional to question a senator about his legislative duties and says he plans to appeal. Bob Agnew reporting.
Also at townhall.com, China announcing more military drills around Taiwan as the self-governing island's president met with members of a new U.S. congressional delegation, threatening to renew tensions between Beijing and Washington after that recent similar visit by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi angered China. Arizona officials have found a way to temporarily close a 1,000-foot gap in the U.S. border wall near Yuma.
They're utilizing a double layer of shipping containers to act as a barrier to stop migrant crossings and adding an additional 4 feet of razor wire on top, according to Governor Doug Ducey's office. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection isn't commenting on Friday's activities, which took place on federal land. Arizona says the Biden administration hasn't followed through on promises to block the area. Even though the project was reportedly open for bids this week, that process could take months. George Williams reporting.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has denounced the FBI for its search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago property during a rally in support of 2 Republican nominees in Arizona. They are Senate nominee Blake Masters and gubernatorial nominee Carrie Lake, both of whom were endorsed by Mr. Trump. More at townhall.com.
Lee Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon 2 factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program with guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
it happened again. We'll get to it. I'll recap a little bit here in a second. A lot of football taken in this weekend, a lot of preseason football and the like. But the scrimmage was Saturday night. We got to hear from the coaches afterwards. Not a ton of news emanating from that, at least that nothing bad, really. That's the. I don't know if I'm like everybody else, but when you hear the good, you're like, oh, that's good. They did this well and they did this well. It was a little give and take. That's good to hear. But really all you're hoping for is don't get up there and tell me that somebody's gone. Don't tell me somebody's out for a year. Don't tell me somebody's not going to be with us anymore for the season or anything like that. No. As long as you don't tell me that, I don't really care if the offense wins or the defense wins. It's a scrimmage. Who cares? It goes back and forth. It happens all the time. I don't really care. One series the offense wins, the next series the defense wins, and the defense wins 2 in a row, then the offense wins 1. Whatever. Great. Good to hear it. Nobody got hurt. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. As long as there are no major announcements. Now, you got to get guys dinged. Guys are always going to be dinged. It's football. It's a brutal game. I don't think you ever get through a single scrimmage, or very rarely do you get through a scrimmage of any kind, anywhere, any team, peewee on up, if you're padded, without somebody getting dinged. Maybe somebody's out for a week. Somebody's got a bone bruise. Somebody's got a hamstring tug. Some problem there. Got to give him a little bit of rest. That's going to happen. As long as my coach isn't up there telling me, unfortunately, like he had to last week, that Caden Lyles was out for the year, as long as I don't get anything more than any more of those types of days, then the scrimmage, no matter who won, is a success.
Well, in terms of things that we can see with our own eyes, the scrimmage is not one of them. But this week, you have Tuesday through Saturday that they practice. Saturday will again be closed to us, but tomorrow through Friday, we can see everything. It'll be interesting if there's any shuffling or things of the like that go on. I'll tell you now that the Caden Lyles saga is over, it was just so strange. And he continues to do it. He did it in Jacksonville. My man puts on his helmet and shoulder pads for, the stretches and the walkthroughs, even though he's done, even though he's done for the year. Mm-hmm. So when it was reported that he had a problem, and you see him, and yes, he was working to the side, looked like in the rehab area that guys come and go from all the time. But when he's going through stretches and then you see him over there, you're thinking, all right, doesn't seem to be a long-term deal. Then you heard what Mike said after practice. It was almost a bit of a shock, even though we knew he wasn't 100%. See how things go this week. But I'm like you at this point. Bubble wrap them. We kind of know what we are, except at a couple positions. We kind of know where we're at, who we are. Now it's just about being ready and time releasing it for not just Duquesne for about a half, but the LSU game. You want to be as full steam as you possibly can be. That game is so critical.
Yeah, we talked this morning, and when we were talking, I said, I know we get the opportunity to be out there, and you want to see meaningful reps. You want to see competition. You want to see guys getting better. You want to see them building toughness mentally and physically. You want to see all the traditional football-related things. But I could also be just fine if I got out there and they said, listen, guys, prepare to be bored. We're not doing a lot of live anything in terms of full-on football activity. We're going to be doing a lot of install and walkthroughs and getting guys ready. So be very careful about what you report. That kind of stuff. I'd be fine with that. Be like, okay, good. You feel like they did a really good job of hitting the ground running. I will tell you that I've not seen a team, not that I've covered, and I've covered Florida State football and been at practices since 1998. I don't really remember a team, even the vastly experienced teams, that ever on day one began install because they had 90% of the team coming over from the spring practices into the fall practices. Like 90% of the team that is going to be on the team this year and participating in football was already here in spring. So they were able to start by going full board day one. Here we go. No time to sit back and ease you in. You guys should already know this stuff. Let's go. And they expected the newcomers to pick it up quick. Those guys, it was a tough year to be a newcomer in this. If you didn't get here as an early enrollee and you arrived in the fall, that's tough, man, because they were not going to wait on you. They had their people. They had their personnel. Now, you could crack it, but you better get crack-a-lacking because they weren't waiting.
There was some time that you had in the first few periods, the ones that we can report on, where the offensive line, the holdovers, the mainstays, which is most of them, would go through the drills with Atkins. But then the freshmen, and I think even the early enrollees that were freshmen as well, were over there working with an assistant. an offensive assistant, just going through, all right, here's the crash course, guys, of what we're going to be doing today. But you would have had to listen during that period as a young offensive lineman very closely. And your assimilation skills would have to be at the pinnacle in order for you to be ready by the time that they went later on into practices. It was something to see, because even last year, it carried over from something that Coach Taggart did to Coach Norvell, which is they had a morning and an afternoon last fall camp. Like, there was an acclimation day for the newcomers.
Yeah.
And I think they did 3 of those, maybe 3 or 4 of them. I forget how many exactly. That never happened this year. There was never a split day where it's, oh, look at that, there's a portion of the roster.
Yeah, let me tell you how
here.
this worked. Yeah, none of that.
None of that.
No,
they're in a very advanced place when it comes to camp. Doesn't mean about aptitude or expectations about wins and losses and productivity. They're just in a very advanced place when it comes to what level of install they're doing and the advanced measures of all the intake and the work and the speed of practice. It's impressive to see. We'll see if it parlays itself into more wins, though.
Interesting. I was going through, and you know how we talk about trying to acclimate yourself to what's what in college football again, pro football too. This weekend, as I said, I watched an awful lot of pro football, but I began to read an awful lot about college football across the board, and different places, The Athletic and others listing their first team defense, their first team offense in college football. And you go through there, and obviously we don't have guys on those teams. We're not there yet. Some of our opponents, unfortunately, do. Clemson has too many, and that bothers me. But luckily, that first team defensive squad, at least by voting by way of this particular outlet, did not have any LSU players on it early on. We'll see. That made me smile. I was pleased about that. None on the first team offense either. I was like, that's good. That's good. That's good. Some guys that project nicely, but nothing that where you're like, oh, man, starting nose tackles, top 5 pick, is he?
Right.
Nothing like that.
The O-line should not be stunned this year by a whole lot because of what they're going through every day in practice, especially the interior, right? I mean, they shouldn't. It doesn't mean they're going to win. It just means that if they lose, it might be similar to the way they lose in a given day or a given segment to a Fabian Lovett or a Robert Cooper. It won't be for a lack of competition. There have been plenty of times and plenty of segment groups over the last 5 years that when they got out on the field on Saturdays, it was harder than in practice, a lot harder, because they hadn't seen anything like what they were going up against. But for more segment groups, including the offensive line, guard, center, guard, this year, you're not going to be as stunned on a Saturday. That's where you get to a point. Georgia talked about it after the championship game was over. Practice was harder than the games. That's what they said around here in 2013 and 14. Not there yet, but we're a lot closer.
Somebody noted, I did not see what it was. It was earlier while we were talking. We were doing the AP poll that came out today, and we went through all of the teams. It was Radavius Hall. Thanks, Radavius. 13 AP preseason ranked teams last year didn't finish the season ranked. Yeah, that's kind of typical, actually. And that's why, how many times did we say worse? We said worse quite a bit. I mean, it's especially when you're talking 15 to 25. That's tough. I mean, those teams, you're one extra loss away from being out of that thing.
Right. It's a time capsule thing. It's like, when are you 15 to 25? If you happen to win the bowl game and it's a coin flip, then you're 18. If you lose that bowl game, you're unranked. But I still want to be in that conversation for once. It's been a long time.
It is strange to just want to be ranked, but I share that sentiment. And we've been out of it for long enough to long for it. It's not even, those first 2 years, I really just was kind of like, okay, look, this was headed towards the side of the mountain. It has hit the side of the mountain. It does not change overnight. I've watched rebuilds. I've seen them from a distance. Usually there's somebody else's team that we're talking about. We always notice the signs when they're turning the corner. We always look at it from afar. You're like, oh, by the way, they're turning the corner. I talk about that a lot as college football fans, not just diehard Nole fans, which the vast majority of people listening to this show are. We noticed, yes, we're hyper-focused on FSU, but we always notice within our own conference, the surrounding conferences, and really college football, the entirety of the landscape, because we love the sport. We love it. We watch as many games as we possibly can. And in doing so, you'll pick out a team once a year, minimum. Oh, look at that. It looks like so-and-so's got it moving in the right direction. I mean, it's always fun when you see that, too, because you can try to get on them early. Maybe you catch a game late night, early in the season. You're like, you know what? They're better than they were last year by a lot. That's going to be an interesting team to bet on, or whatever it might be, right?
Utah, Kentucky, NC State, to name a few.
We've done all of those.
3-4 years.
Utah State, I've done several others. I'm just hoping we're that team for some bastard living in Arizona this year. or some guy that's just tuned in California or Nevada or Michigan. Look at Florida State. Now the problem is we won't be able to hide, because if early on the indicators are that we're much better than the preseason rankings suggest, certainly the coaches poll, which had us 55th. 55th. Man, you insulting bastards. But anyhow, that said, hopefully, the sad part was we won't be able to take advantage as a bettor the way that you can from afar when that team is, say, Temple, because only the diehards are watching Temple. But Florida State would be giving you an indication early on in their second game of the year against LSU in front of the nation.
You might be able to take advantage of it if it's a tough slog between NC State and Clemson, because then you have NC State, Clemson the bye, Georgia Tech to get right, and then that Miami game, you might have an advantage. To where, because things didn't go right on the road at NC State and then Clemson came down and handled business. These are things I don't want to happen, folks. I'm just looking for places on the calendar where you could take advantage of us if we start fast. Miami might be overvalued at that point. I look forward to seeing the way Miami plays in big games this year, because old Cristobal can get these guys wound tight at his former institutions.
Especially when they're playing Utah.
Right.
They can just wear that ass beating is what they can do.
Like, for example, the Texas A&M game, I'm not as worried about Miami playing tight for. It's akin to the Ohio State victory for Oregon and Mario.
Yeah. Nothing to lose.
Right. But when there is expectation down the stretch, be it a coastal game or we travel to town, does he have him puckering a little bit? Because if he does, then he can stay right on down there.
I'm hoping the pucker factor is high. Miles Brennan, who started at quarterback for LSU in 2020, missed most of the last 2 years with injuries, is taking his ball and going home. I don't blame him. I mean, you've been that injury riddled. He's decided, I'm done. I'm not going to play any more football. He'd been competing with former Arizona State transfer Jaden Daniels. That's who we thought would win the job. Jaden's whatever. Sophomore Garrett Nussmeier also competing for that job. Quote, we are grateful to Miles for everything he's done for LSU. That, according to Brian Kelly. He could have just as easily said, whole lot of nothing. But, hey, there was that year, 3 years before I got here, is what he could have said.
This was a case, it would appear, I don't know if it's physically, but certainly reps-wise. If you pay attention to LSU sites, and I was reading ours, the On3 network, the Bengal Tiger, this morning, he's been running third.
Yeah.
He's been running third.
And he's 32. He's got a mortgage to pay. He's got things he's got to worry about. He's got to get out into the working world time. You can't be out here trying to live a dream as the fourth string quarterback. It's time, man. You got the beer belly growing. Responsibilities grow. It's time to get out there and get a real job, Miles. You ain't ever going to play pro. So there was that's where we were there. And he did take equal reps with Daniels and Nussmeier during the spring game. So hope sprung eternal very briefly. And that was it. So, we'll continue to monitor there. I'm not as worried about the starting quarterback at LSU as I am other positions and how they match up against Florida State.
Sounds like they're going to run a true freshman left tackle out there. That was the talk before camp, and it's holding. So
he had a great spring, and they talked him up big time, and he is a highly touted individual. So might we be able to take advantage of that situation? Let's hope.
Right. He'll be a different player in November, but we don't play them in November. No. Here you go.
He's going to get spun around like a top, Tom. It's going to be embarrassing. We're going to be like, look at that.
Jared Verse.
That poor kid got brutalized again.
4.5 TFLs, 2 sacks.
They may ruin that kid before he ever has a chance to realize that potential. Wouldn't that be a wonderful conversation to have in the Superdome?
Oh, it's going to happen.
Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
If you're hearing this right now and you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume and listen to this. My friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference. When it's time to buy a new home, he will waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's a $1,600 value right out of the gate. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for their closing, you'll be saving another $600. That's $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's like 20 tanks of gas in your car. And today, more than ever, it's important to save as much money as you can, wherever you can. So if you or someone you know is active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher and looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young, Legendary Home Loans, and ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. That's FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
A lifelong Florida farmer, Wilton Simpson, is ready to be Florida's next Commissioner of Agriculture. A devoted husband, father, and grandfather, Wilton Simpson grew up on his family's chicken farm in Trilby. One of us, Wilton shares our conservative values and, like any farmer, believes in working sun up to sun down. And Wilton's brought that same farmer's work ethic to Tallahassee as state Senate president. Simpsons fought to cut taxes for Florida families and fought for parents to have a say in their children's education. 100% pro-life, endorsed by the NRA for defending our Second Amendment rights. Wilton knows we have to crack down on illegal immigration. And Wilton Simpson has the complete and total endorsement of his friend and ally, Governor Ron DeSantis. In the Republican primary on August 23rd, vote for conservative farmer Wilton Simpson for Florida Commissioner of Agriculture. Paid political advertisement paid for by RSLC Florida IEPAC, P.O. Box 772516, Miami, Florida 33177, independently of any candidate or committee.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco.
I can dig it. Who's playing?
Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys.
Wow, far out.
You bet, man. When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas.
Does Margarita know?
Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
But it's probably something you and I think about more than most of the people in the population because we know we're about to have to speak, but it's not quite here. It's starting to brew like a storm in the distance. And then you're coming back on the air and you're like, well, I can't let this song play forever. I like the Kinks as much as the next guy, but I can't keep letting that play.
Yeah, it's the sneeze warning level too is very, you can rate it 1 through 5. Like there are some that you can just keep talking through and nobody will be the wiser. Then there are some that are going to make your face contort in ridiculous ways because of the pain if you try to talk through and force back the sneeze.
Yeah. I'm not a big, I don't have you have like bouts of allergies that tackle you and make
there are times
like
that my nose is running as I'm talking and I just have to play it off.
Like it's funny because of the era that we live in, the result of the pandemic. If you're in a grocery store and you're about to sneeze, you know that terrible feeling like, oh, got to find an isolated spot. I'm going to frighten.
Where's the produce section?
Yeah, you're like, this poor woman looking at the butter at the wrong time.
Let's see if I could find these oranges to sneeze on.
Oh,
never.
man.
I'm a crux of the arm guy.
Yeah, you do the right thing. You do the right thing. So not one preseason football game for you. This is most I've ever watched.
That is strange. Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'm watching a lot of other baseball games too. So we've got the 2 TV set up, and it'll be on the competition. We'll just put it that way. I'll have the second TV on the competition, and then Jamie's team is in a losing battle, I fear. But that AL Central race is really close. So we've usually got one of those games on.
I don't do the thing that a lot of people do, and certainly that the cable television shows do, and that ESPN does, where they isolate something that happened in a preseason game and spend 8 of their programming hours from in the morning to right before SportsCenter starts at 6 on that thing. Today's thing, as I passed by the television this morning, because we didn't have to be at practice, was the Cowboys committed 17 penalties in their preseason game. And given that they've committed an alarming 200 and something over the last 2 years to lead the league, yes, all fingers point to Mike McCarthy, but, they should have never hired him to begin with, and everybody knew it, so this is going to happen. Yes.
So when it happened, though, Bristol said, all right,
They
2
said,
years of picking on Mike.
We got 8 hours. We got 8 hours we can talk about here. How great is this? But instead, I do look at some of the things. Like, I don't know if you didn't see. You told me you didn't see, but Buffalo's got a punter that may be the greatest punter in the history of punters.
Yeah, I forget his name, but on social media.
83-yard punt.
Yes. Yeah, it was net 63.
It's
I mean, that's
insane.
perfect. I mean, if you could just do that every time, you get the ball at the 20.
Yeah, but nobody can do that every time. That was insane. And
it looks sustainable for that, dude. You're just going to have to, when you're the returner, you're going to have to line up an extra 10 yards deep to be able to flag it down in these specific situations where he bombs it.
You know what I find? This is when you know that you love the game. You don't even have to care about the team, but you just want to see a guy who's uniquely gifted. Like, I find myself looking for Chargers games because I want to watch Justin Herbert throw a football. I don't know how, when we watched Oregon, that you and I did not see the level of arm strength. Well, lots of people didn't. But when we watched him, at no point did I say, well, that guy's preternaturally great. That guy's going to be one of the great quarterbacks of our era coming up. Nobody said that in Oregon.
I mean, Willie found a way to go 7-5 with that dude.
Yeah.
Think about it that way.
Yeah.
I saw the Rose Bowl game that he played in. He made a couple of throws in zone
where you
reads
kind of went, ooh.
that I said, I remember we talked about it on the air that time. For the first time, I realized, oh, well, that's nice. But I mean, it's not enough for me to go with the top 3 pick with the guys. It just wasn't there.
Well,
but
and then he made those comments where we went, well, that's weird.
I'm not sure if I'm ready to be a 1 or whatever it is. Something along those lines.
Something that suggested doubt is what he suggested. And we went, well, this is not what we want to hear from a starting quarterback.
And I'm here to tell you that if he was the day 1 starter, it might not have worked out this way. We may never be talking about Justin Herbert because the mind is amazing in that way. It could get in the way of everything that you want to achieve. It was Tyrod Taylor going down because he got jabbed in the ribs, right? Wasn't it Tyrod?
Oh, he got screwed because they injected
him with the painkiller too deep.
Rib cartilage got,
So they didn't tell Justin until like the anthem. They're like, all right, you're in. By the way, you're the starter. I think it might have had to work that way for him because he would have been too scared all week, but
Perhaps.
He got out of his own way.
Wow. And he was electric. By the way, Matt Araiza, I believe is the name of the punter for the Bills.
Yeah.
I looked it up because that game 27-24 over the Colts. I did watch a lot of that game, and it was an 82-yarder, and it's silliness because you get a sense that you're right. We may end up seeing that a lot, and it was cool because they celebrated it. Players, meaning the real football players like linebackers and with defensive linemen and offensive linemen and running backs and receivers, they all came over to celebrate him. It was pretty cool to watch. And Ryan may end up having a good season.
It's a good situation.
It is a really good situation.
Carson,
that
he screwed that up.
Think about that. Jonathan Taylor is elite. So you have, and every time that Matt Ryan's been good in the NFL, like he was really good in Atlanta for that little 3-year window, he had elite running game. An elite running game. And most quarterbacks, obviously, they have any ability, and you couple it with a really good running game, and you're going to have the opportunity to throw off a play action and get some one-on-one situations. He'll have Jonathan Taylor, but he's got Michael Pittman Jr. to throw the ball to, who's really, really good. Nope. That's a fun team.
I mean, it's the Stafford-esque thing. You need the guy to put you over the top. That's what the Rams did, and I think that's what the Colts. Well, it's certainly what they've been aiming to do. That's why they went and got Carson Wentz in the first place last year.
Let's pivot back to Florida State. We'll get to him in a moment. We'll take a quick break. We'll bring in Ira Schoffel from Warchant.com. We'll get his thoughts. That's all next. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Officers are investigating a Sunday evening shooting that injured multiple people. The incident happened on the 200 block of Dixie Drive in Tallahassee after 6 p.m. Police say 2 victims were shot and taken to the hospital. An officer described the injuries as non-fatal at this time. No arrests have been made. No more details are available at this time. The city of Tallahassee announced Friday that a woman was arrested by the Tallahassee Police Department in connection to a hit-and-run incident July 22nd at the 1100 block of Thomasville Road. 22-year-old Andrea O'Connor turned herself into the Leon County Detention Facility Friday. On July 22nd, just before midnight, O'Connor was driving southbound on Thomasville Road when she allegedly struck the victim as he was walking across Thomasville Road. The victim was taken to an area hospital where he died from injuries. It is believed that O'Connor left the scene. O'Connor exceeded the posted speed limit at the time of the incident and was on her cell phone. Law enforcement detectives were able to establish probable cause. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance for scattered thunderstorms this afternoon, otherwise partly cloudy. Highs level off around 93, southwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Slight chance for scattered thunderstorms again tonight, lows around 74, partly cloudy skies. Chance for scattered thunderstorms tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 92, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
If you're hearing this right now and you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume and listen to this. My friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference. When it's time to buy a new home, he will waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's a $1,600 value right out of the gate. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for their closing, you'll be saving another $600. That's $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's like 20 tanks of gas in your car. And today, more than ever, it's important to save as much money as you can, wherever you can. So if you or someone you know is active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher and looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young, Legendary Home Loans, and ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. That's FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Here's what you missed on The Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on their clothes. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
I think there was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Monday, which I appreciate, and it is time to talk to our friend Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com, my cohort, and he joins us now. Hello, good sir. How are you?
I'm great, Jeff. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, brother. Doing well. So you got to see the O's. Was that the game they lost? I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm saying, was that the game? I didn't know which one you went to.
They actually lost 2 of the 3 down in Tampa. But yeah, yesterday we went down there and I had to switch. I had to pivot. I was texting Tom around the 7th inning. I had to pivot from wanting the Orioles to win.
Wanting to see a perfect game?
Wanting to see a perfect game. And that's a tough pivot to make, but I wasn't the only one. There were a bunch of Orioles fans around me who were like, I can't believe I'm rooting for this guy to throw a perfect game. And my guy Mateo broke it up, and it was a bummer from that standpoint because I knew they were going to win. They weren't going to win anyway. But it was a good day. Good day down at the Trop.
we bet these things all the time. Tom and I do, or we've talked about these things in the past. At what point of a game is it okay, in a game, is it okay to turn your attention to the greater feat, the more historical feat, if it's happening for the team that is playing yours? Is it the 6th inning? Is it the 7th inning? When do you decide now's the time I'm pulling for this guy to go ahead and throw a perfect game or a no-hitter, whichever one he has going?
I cheered for every out in the 8th. In fact, in the 8th, I think with 2 outs, one of the Orioles hitters had a check swing, and the umpire didn't ring him up. It was 1-2, check swing, umpire doesn't ring him up. And I'm like, what are you doing? He went. And then luckily he grounded out anyway. So we got the excitement going into the 9th. And the fun thing is Kim's not a big baseball fan, so I'm explaining to her, what's going on in the dugout and the fact that nobody's talking to him. And just, it's just, that's cool, man. It's just cool. It was cool to have everybody in the stadium know what's going on, but nobody really wants to talk to it, except the 2 women behind me who wouldn't stop talking the entire game and had no idea that was happening. So other than them, it was everybody else was in on it.
That could be tough. It can be very difficult because you have to fight your instinct to at some point want to say something about why'd you come? Why'd you come to the game? Why are you here? So quickly, your 3-2-1 has infused grand enthusiasm across the board amongst Florida State faithful because you have this team going undefeated, Ira. And I want you to talk about that. Let's tell everybody why this is a 12-0 squad.
Well, first of all, it's funny about that column is because there are so many elements. It's 3 observations, 2 questions, and a prediction. A lot of times I don't know what the reaction is going to be. Like a lot of times one element of it, even if the whole thing's positive, one element could be negative and people will like latch onto that or vice versa. So with this one, I wasn't really sure because I thought I threw some cold water on some of the excitement about the offensive line by saying, look, it is deeper and it's a better group overall. But I get the sense sometimes people have thought like, okay, that means that they're going to go out there and be a really good offensive line. I'm not sure about that. I just think they're deeper and they've got more options and the drop-off won't be so big if they have injuries or if they have to rotate guys. To me, that's a big positive, but it's not the same as saying, okay, you went out and you got 5 really good high-level offensive linemen. I'm not sure that they have that. But I think where people do have excitement and because I kind of mapped out is position by position, evaluating this team was where it was a year ago to now. And I think they're improved in almost every position. The 2 positions I would say they're definitely not improved is defensive end. They're clearly not improved. They're probably taking a step back. And then tight end, I think, is probably a wash. But everywhere else on this team, I think they're better. And I think that portends a much better season. Now, what we don't know is how much better the teams they're playing are. But I think that part of it, when you look at how much better they've gotten in so many positions on offense and defense, I think that should make you feel better.
Yeah, you mentioned that you think that, when you talked about young players, the freshman class being very impressive. Go ahead and elaborate on that. I agree with you. I think that's something that is worth celebrating and getting excited about.
Yeah, I've thought that these guys are good evaluators. I thought Mike Norvell in particular, just like Jimbo Fisher had the ultimate say when evaluating players. When he was the head coach, he would say, I'm the player personnel director. Mike Norvell is pretty much the same. I mean, they have a staff. Those guys will make their recommendations, but they're not offering somebody if Mike Norvell doesn't want to offer them. And I thought last year's class was the first one where they've gotten the real full opportunity to be on the road, to evaluate players in person and have those kids come onto campus, go through the whole visit process. And I think when you look at this freshman class, we saw a bunch of them in the spring. We were impressed by what they did in the spring. And then you've seen the total group now that those guys have arrived in the summer, and you've added some really nice pieces. Julian Armello is one of them. Obviously Azaria Thomas, Sam McCall, Omar Graham, Kanaya Charlton on the offensive line, the young defensive lineman that, Tom and I, a lot of times at practice, we'll watch the linemen. Daniel Lyons has been impressive since the spring. I like Dante Anderson at defensive end. Really, I just don't see a lot of misses. I'm sure there's a couple of misses in this freshman class, but not many. And I really think that you're going to see probably about half those guys get on the field this fall. I think that portends for the future. If this staff has success this year, if they continue to build positive momentum, I like the way they evaluate players. I like what they look for in players, and I think we're going to see that over time.
Something you noted that you didn't reference here, but I want to 100% put a stamp of agreement with is Tafasi's a baller. He's going to be really good. And for those that don't know, and you wrote it in your 3-2-1, but for people who don't know, that's a kid that won't be able to play this year. He reclassified, but he is a kid that if he was asked to play this year, I think could. I mean, I think he's that good. He's a big kid with skill.
Oh, no question. And because he is redshirting, he's taking an academic redshirt, which is something they're allowed to do now. Ayo Tafasi is a guy who is practicing every day. And so because of that, he's practicing against the other freshmen. So it's not like we're seeing him go up against, Dylan Gibbons. But so we can't say specifically that he would carry that over to game day, but I'd like to see it because he is, 6'3", 300 pounds and just built like a rock and has some nastiness to him. He not only beats the offensive lineman he's going up against more often than not, but he lets everybody in the vicinity know about it. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I really look forward to next spring and then next season getting to see him on the field and it's just great that he's able to practice and kind of continue to develop because I think he's going to be unleashed on some people next year.
I asked this question at the start of the show as a talking point. I kind of threw it out there in almost rhetorical, and then Tom and I just began to discuss it. So I'll ask you because I am curious to see what your reaction is. Mike Norvell basically said, look, we know what we're going to get in Jordan Travis. He's had a great camp. We feel good about him. And he did fine early on in the scrimmage, and so we decided to look at the other guys. We wanted to see Tate Rodemaker and A.J. Duffy and get them some run with the ones. What did you make of that and your overall thoughts on that decision?
Look, I think it says two things to me, and I haven't talked to Mike Norvell since then, certainly off the record to know. But the biggest one to me is the fact that they're 2 weeks away from the season and they don't feel like Jordan Travis needs work with the wide receivers. Man, I think that says a lot. I think that speaks to how good they feel about this passing game. And we've been seeing it. I think there have been signs of this passing game really showing up over these last week or so of practices. So I think that's a good sign. The other thing is I think you do want to keep him in bubble wrap. And I know you mentioned in your last segment or a couple segments ago, I heard you in the car, that you'd like to put the whole team in bubble wrap right now.
Yeah,
I'm sure they want to keep Jordan Travis in bubble wrap. And look, it's a scrimmage. They wear non-con jerseys. But guys can get pushed into somebody. Guys can roll around and land on somebody's ankle. Things can happen, even in a non-contact portion of practice. And so that's what I would read into it. But again, just the idea that you're willing to do that, they must feel really good, I feel like, about what they can do in the passing game.
Brother, I always appreciate it. It's good to talk to you again. Be well. I'm glad you're back, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds great. Thanks, man.
Be good, brother. That's Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think let me address something here. Ira's bullish on this team probably more so than anybody on the staff. And I don't think he should go out of his way to say something negative. He doesn't feel it, if he doesn't think it's there. Now, when you do that in this game, we all do this, make predictions or talk about what we think a player might be or the way a season's going to go or what a coach is. Sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. And we don't know. We don't know what that will produce this year. But in Ira's mind, they are a lot better. I think they're better. I don't go as far as he does in the category of a lot better. I think they're better, though. I think it would be silly to come in here and just find negative things to talk about for the sake of it. I don't think they're great on the offensive line. He just said that. He thinks they're deeper. Yeah, I think they're deeper and better because of the depth.
Right.
The quality of the depth. Not just that they finally actually have depth, which they haven't had. So it's not just that they're deeper. They haven't had any depth. Now they have actual depth. And the quality of that depth is that if a guy has to come out, the guy replacing him is not appreciably worse. He may not be as good, but it's not like overwhelmingly scary to think about that backup having to come in. I'm telling you, last year, we sat around, and in particular, my man Ira with the binoculars and pregame warmups, and looked to see if Dylan Gibbons was going to start. And you go through and name your guy, right? We would look to see who was going to have to play, because if any of them were not amongst the starting five, it was going to be a very difficult task to win a football game. It wasn't just that, we're at a disadvantage here. It was, I don't think they can win if he doesn't play. Or if they have to start so-and-so, they're in big trouble. Brady Scott. Let's just be honest about that. I mean, there were guys that if you had to play them, you thought, well, hell,
right. And even if you're playing him, you're saying he's playing where?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
this guy has
scary.
to be the right tackle.
So
God.
that's all. I mean, that's all I'm saying is that's what has changed. Is that if any of those guys have to miss, their backups are not dreadful. They're not guys that you're going to be holding your breath. As far as, and I think as far as the receiving core goes, I don't think they're good at receiver. I think they're better. So why would I say?
Right.
So, I mean, like if they're better, they're better. I'm not telling you that they're in the upper echelon of the ACC. I don't think he is either. They're not. They're not.
No, everybody is talking about the improvement of this team to land somewhere between 7 and 9 wins, depending upon how optimistic or pessimistic they are. But 8 seems to be about the middle. 9 if everything goes right for some people on the staff. 8 is if everything goes right for others on the staff that we have here at Warchant. And then some hover at 7. I mean, like, it's still improvement with a schedule that features more veteran quarterbacks, Sam Hartman being the exclusion. We'll see if he's available by the time Wake and Florida State play in October or late September. But the point remains that this group looks better across the board when you go position by position. I think that's what Ira did very well in the 3-2-1 is he goes segment by segment to show you individually if this group is better than the year before. And the only one that has a significant drop-off is defensive end, rush end. I know they've got different names for it over there in the coaching staff, but I think he said a moderate decline in production. And I agree with that. It should be. But other than that, if you look across the board, most every position is either as good or better than it was last year. That's where you get excitement. But it's all in the construct of saying we're shooting for 8 here. It's not better to the tune of winning the Atlantic.
Still under that umbrella. I think where we would likely be in the most amount of disagreement, and I don't think maybe that's you and me, maybe that's me and Ira, maybe that's like as a staff. I think where we would probably have the most amount of disagreement is Jordan Travis.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah. I don't think he's done anything this camp that has me elated. I don't see it. I think he looks like a guy who's probably an improved passer. That's good because he wasn't good as a passer, so that'll be better. But the strength of his game is still going to be his legs,
which is more than enough at this level.
But I'm saying that's my point. My point is that there's not like I think when people say, if people hear any of us say we think Jordan Travis is better, they're assuming that means he's a better passer. I don't know that he's a better passer.
Yeah, but when they hear that he's not a good passer, they hear you saying that he sucks or something. He doesn't suck.
No.
He's a good player. He's a very good college player, especially what we need right now. This is a guy that could take an offense that couldn't block, didn't have receivers, and help them produce in the upper 20s to lower 30s. The question with him is durability.
Yeah, durability, also consistency in terms of accuracy from he.
But that's never going to be his game. You're never going to go into a week as Mike Norvell and game plan and say we're going to throw the ball 30 times because the consistency of the way he throws the football is going to be our leading charge. It's going to be his legs scare the crap out of the opponent, and I think he's more than good enough now to make throws that he has to make because the offensive line's better and we're competent at receiver where we were incompetent before.
Let me ask you this, because this is where, and this is interesting because I have said, even when I criticize Jordan Travis, the passer, I have said that there are certain throws he makes exceptionally well. Like, I'm not blind to the fact that anything outside the hashes down the field, he throws very well. I mean, in a breadbasket, he can make that throw consistently well. I point out that he consistently fails to either see receivers down the seam or hit them accurately. That is my criticism. I would argue that's not going to be appreciably better.
And what priority or what level of priority of the offense should that be?
Well,
like 3 or 4 or 5? Because you're going to game plan around a guy's strengths. Like, so for example, you could say we should toss out zone read for Tate Rodemaker. Well, you're not going to run a lot of zone read, like where you're actually going to use Tate to run the football.
Right. Although he's not.
He's not devoid of talent to run, but
he can run.
Well, what I'm saying is if you look at capability of Tate in the zone read game and
compared
in the open field,
right.
and you say that's analogous to me to Jordan Travis throwing over the middle of the field. It can be done, but it's not something that you're going to game plan to do.
Yeah, the problem is that if you can't make certain throws and defense's game plan to take the one thing you can do away and you can't expose them with what they're willing to give up, that's where I get frustrated with him, is that there are things that they will give him that he couldn't hit last year. All I wanted was for him to recognize those things and take advantage of those coverages.
Right.
Because he could then become that much better. And maybe he will.
Well,
I haven't seen it.
But if he did, then they could win 10 or 11 games.
Correct.
That's the thing.
Well, I'd like to win more games. I mean, that would be great.
We're all operating under 8's the goal. If 8's the goal, I mean, you're going to far exceed that if he looks like he did in Wednesday's practice, which is completing the ball to all fields with consistency. But you're talking about a guy that you're looking to get you to 8, 9 of everything falls right.
Well,
he's got more than enough of a skill set to do that as long as he's healthy.
No. Yes. We're not in disagreement that you can win football games with Jordan Travis. What I'm arguing is that, and this is why it would be the most contentious of the debates that we would have as a staff, is that I don't know that there was anything this camp, and admittedly, the day that he was so good, that was universally praised by everybody covering this team, I missed that day. I did not see that day. But I do believe everybody. I do believe, because I have seen him have days like that. He has done that before. And I don't expect that to be who he is on game day. He had a great day. That's cool. If it portends of more consistency, that'd be great too. But when I hear that, okay, we already know what Jordan Travis is, he doesn't need to take reps in this scrimmage or more reps in this scrimmage, that doesn't tell me that they think he's improved to the point where they can just shelve him. I don't see it that way. I think it means they know what he is, and so...
Right, which is a better player. We would disagree on that. I think he's a better player, but I also think you could argue that he's no different, but they're better at blocking and they've got receivers who can win one-on-ones, which means that last year was unfair, and then saying he's better this year might be unfair as well. Maybe he was always something in between.
Yeah, I think that's right. Listen, he is a good college football player.
Right.
He is not a pro quarterback where nobody's expecting that.
When I hear the talking points on that part of that, he can't make the throws, that 3rd and 7 over the middle of the field or whatever. I don't think he's going to be playing on Sundays either.
No, he's
but
not.
I think he can be playing on Saturdays well enough that we could get into the mid-30s with consistency if everybody holds up and is better.
Healthy. Yeah. And then the only other thing that I think we would talk about is that while I agree that the that the wide receiving core is better, because how could they be worse? It's a low bar is all I'm saying. It's a pretty damn low bar. Now, Johnny Wilson has been, for me, because I had very low expectations, I've said it time and again, I would be foolish to deny that, he has been much better in camp than I would have thought him to be. But he's not scaring anybody. Nobody's going into the game saying we have to game plan for Johnny Wilson. He's not that.
No, but if he is as consistent in games, which is a different beast, I'll grant you that. But if he's as consistent in games as he's been the last week or so, showing that growth, he may not be a guy that you game plan against, but when you line up, you can't cheat either towards the line of scrimmage with a guy like Johnny Wilson on the field. You can't. He's too large. So that opens up other things for the offense. It's not to say that you have to keep 2 sets of eyes and 2 bodies on him at all times, but you can't just say, we're going to throw somebody out on an island. He's starting to get to a place where I don't think you can do that. Well, especially when we're talking about beating the Wakes of the world.
Yeah,
we're not trying to beat Clemson with that type of game plan, but they can probably handle it. LSU probably could.
They probably can, and I'm betting that Miami can, and that Florida can, and that there are
too many on Miami.
Well, maybe, but I'm saying there are too many kids, too many teams that have guys that could line up one-on-one with Johnny Wilson, and they're not going to be scared to do it. They're going to do it because they'd rather take their chances with that matchup than allowing Jordan to do what he does. Out on the edges.
But if you get that matchup now, you've got a chance to prove it.
And that's what we're all waiting on. That's what we're all waiting on.
I don't feel like you're weaponless now, but from what I've seen. I don't feel like you're helpless. So you're like, oh, well, they found it out. They figured it out.
And I don't know how quickly he can do it. How quickly can Deuce-Spann make an impact? How quickly can he show teams that they have to reckon with that speed? Because that changes everything about how they line up. And I don't know how quick. I don't know the answer to that. He's been better this camp. Do I think he's ready to be a star in college football? No. Well, but he's just further along than we thought he'd be.
This is why I had Ja'Kai Douglas higher in my top 40 preseason, because of what he can do as a gadget player. Like, it doesn't matter that you can't line up for 60 plays and be consistent.
Right.
If you can give me 10, well, because we already know that Mike can scheme up a running back or a slot type guy against the linebacker once or twice a game. They know it's coming, and he still does it. He gets the matchup and the rail routes or whatever. Well, if you add Deuce-Spann to that equation as a true receiver, you're going to get a lot of matchups that you love. And
if you
can hit a couple of them,
got to catch it.
Right.
I mean, that's
like, it's critical that the first 1 or 2 of this season he catches, because then other teams have to say,
put it on film. Put it on film. It's funny. My expectations are so low, and I don't mean that as a negative shot at the personnel. He's had to come such a long way in a short period of time. It's an unfair thing, right? Like, this guy went and transitioned from quarterback to wide receiver. He's got 5 catches in a college football game in his life, 5. And now I need him to be a huge difference maker in this year's ACC. And I don't know that it's reasonable to expect that. But if he catches the first couple in one-on-one coverage down the field, that's on film, and everybody's going to have to respect that, and opens up a lot of stuff.
And who knows what it does for his confidence.
Probables, fire away. Here we go. Hit it. I got about a minute and a half. We're going to rapid fire this baby.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Woo! Fun. Almost there. Tigers, Guardians, nothing. They're warming up. They're getting started. Drew Hutchison, Aaron Savale. Tigers, Guardians, game 2. Brian Garcia, Xavion Curry. Phillies, Reds, Noah Syndergaard, Mike Minor. Padres, Marlins, Joe Musgrove, Sandy Alcantara. Cubs, Nationals, Marcus Stroman, Josiah Gray. Come on down that tree, Josiah. Rays, Yankees, Jalen Beeks, Garrett Cole. We got Orioles, Blue Jays, Kyle Bradish. Mets, Braves, here we go. Let's get it on. Carlos Carrasco, Spencer Strider. I know what you're doing tonight. Royals, Twins, Chris Bubik, Joe Ryan, A's, Rangers, James Caprielli, Glenn Otto. Hey, I'm Glenn Otto. Welcome to Glenn Otto. I'm going to skip ahead. D-backs, Giants, Madison Bumgarner, Alex Cobb. There's other games. I didn't
That's
get
like
to
the 2017 Cy Young battle right there.
And that's a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Boom! That's 20 seconds, Jeff. You can say goodbye. All right. Be good, everybody. Be well. Be good to each other. Appreciate what you got, right? Talk to you guys tomorrow. Seminole Headlines back in the studio. Looking forward to it. Good job, Tom. Good job, Matthew. Be well. Peace.